So in this session, we'll discuss about the concept of scheduler. So what does it mean by the scheduler and how to create a scheduler in AEM? Okay. So scheduler is nothing but a scheduler is an job which we want to execute. Okay. So scheduler is an OSGI service. It is an existing OSGI service. Okay. So which is used to schedule a job. So what does it mean by the job here? So job is nothing but a task I want to execute. Okay. Suppose if I'm having a task, so consider this is my task. So I want to execute this task at a particular interval of time or a regular interval of time. I want to execute this task. So at that case, with the help of the scheduler, we can automate our process. So consider if I want to execute this task during an odd time, maybe or 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning, I want to execute. Or I want to do that exactly at midnight 12. I want to execute this particular job. So to fire a job, I want to execute this one. Okay. So this is nothing but the task I want to execute. So a part it feels very difficult, right? In order to get that technology and then in order to hit this manually, so it becomes difficult, right? So that cases, so we can easily schedule this one. So we can schedule our task and immediately when the time triggers or when however we are scheduling, immediately whenever the schedule configuration has been triggered, so the job will be filed immediately. Okay. So once it is filed immediately, whatever the task that is there inside this one, it will execute. So say, suppose if I want to execute this at a regular interval of time, okay. So user generated content UGC is one thing which we have to sync between multiple publish instance. So we have to execute this one simultaneously. Maybe for every 1 hour, for every 2 hours, I want to execute this particular task, whatever I am having. So in order to execute that as well, we can easily schedule that with the help of a scheduler. So you can execute for every 1 minute. So suppose if I want to execute at a particular day, okay, on this time, on this interval, if I want to execute, or for every day, for every particular hour, I want to execute. So maybe at every day at 12, I want to execute this task. Okay. So at that time, we can schedule this job. So with the how can we can schedule? So with the help of the Sling scheduler, we can schedule this task and then we can automate our process instead of hitting it manually. So in order to schedule it, so we have two ways. Okay. So in order to create the scheduler in AEM, we have two ways. So one is by using the whiteboard pattern, and second one is by using the scheduler API. So with the help of these two ways, we can easily create a scheduler. So whatever the whiteboard pattern we are having, so this whiteboard pattern is deprecated. So we can't use this whiteboard pattern anymore because it is a deprecated function. We can't inside this whiteboard pattern we have one method. So that method has been deprecated. So that's why we can't proceed with the whiteboard pattern. So in order to create a scheduler, we have to go with the scheduler API only. So with the help of the scheduler API only, we can easily create a we can easily create a scheduler. So this scheduler API, whatever we are seeing, it is an existing OSGA service. Okay. So it is an existing OSGA service. It is a predefined one. So there is no need to write anything from the scratch. So whatever the task I want to do, so that task we have to write from the scratch. But this scheduler API is an existing OSGI service we have to include in order to create an scheduler. So that is the thing. So whiteboard pattern which has been deprecated, so we can't use this whiteboard pattern anymore. If you are using the whiteboard pattern, so this is how we can schedule it. So with the help of the scheduler.on method, we can schedule the thing. So in order to pass the expression and in order to pass the concurrent values, so with the help of these methods, we can do that. Okay, so uh, so I have one more slide with an example. So maybe it was not there. Okay, so here we can so here in this whiteboard pattern, we have one method, so which is used to schedule the job. So that has been deprecated, so we can't use this one. So in order to go with, we have to go with the scheduler API only. So with the help of the scheduler API, we can easily create a job and then we can easily schedule the job as well. Okay, so we can create in periodic times. So for every 3 minutes, if I want to execute, so we can execute that. Suppose if I want to execute at a particular time, okay, so maybe after 6 months or after 9 months, I want to execute the task. So we can easily schedule that and then we can easily run with the help of the scheduler. Okay, so it accepts, so we can schedule a job. So whatever the task I want to do, so the main thing is we have to schedule it. Okay, so when it needs to be executed, how many times it needs to be executed, and how it should be executed. Okay, so these three things we have to specify whenever whenever I want to execute any task. Okay, so in order to specify these things when to execute, so we have a lot of methods inside this one. Okay, so inside this scheduler interface, so always when you are importing, so you have to import as an, so the import option should be this one. So RG Apache Sling comments.scheduler should be the import, and then whatever the task you are having, so you can schedule the task based on two things. So you can schedule a time based job, and then you can also schedule an cron based jobs. Okay, so cron based we can schedule, and then time based also we can schedule. So if you want to execute this, if you want to schedule your job either as a time based job or a cron based job, so here we have a lot of methods. Okay, so right now I want to execute at a particular date. So maybe 15th of this month I want to execute. So then we have the first method. So scheduler options dot at is one method, and then it will accept one date parameter. So here we'll pass the date. So once we pass this date parameter, so now the job will be scheduled at that particular date. Okay, so 15th of September. Okay, so here inside this at method, I'll pass this 15th of September date, and now the job will be scheduled for that particular date. Okay, suppose on the 15th of scheduler, I want to execute number of times. Okay, so here when I'm going for this method, it will execute only one time. The file will be jobbed only once at the specific date. But if you want to execute multiple times in the same date, so at that time here we have to specify the date which I want to execute. With the help of the second method, it will accept three parameters. So both are same methods only. So at date will accept one type of parameters, and at date will accept three parameters. So which concept does it fall under? So same method name but with the different parameters.
Overloading.
Method
Overloading.
overriding. Overloading. So method overloading. Okay. So now here we are passing different parameters, right? So now I want to execute this one at a particular date. Okay. So 15th of August, 15th of September, and then I want to execute three times and with a with a difference of long period. So this many in between the firing three times. So I have to these two we are creating the job with the help of date. Okay, so date and time we are doing. So the second thing what we can do is with the help of the cron expression we can do. Okay, so this cron expression is nothing but so it is one of the most used way in order to schedule your jobs. Okay, so cron expression is a type of expression where we can pass multiple parameters in it. Okay, so So we can write the expression. So or else we can also generate the expression as well. So you can go for cron expression generator, and then inside this cron expression generator, if I want to execute, so for every 1 minute I want to execute. So then if I click on generate, it will generate one. It will generate one cron format. Okay, so this is the expression which I want to do. So how it will execute? So it will also show the next scheduled dates. Okay, so at 12 it will execute, at 12:1, 12:2, 12:3, 12:4, 12:5. So this is the time when it will start executing. So immediately when the clock hits 12, so 12 is nothing but midnight 12. Okay. So it's not after 12 p.m., it's 12 a.m. Okay. So in the 12 a.m., it will be scheduled. Uh, so now when you are going here, so when you are going for this particular cron expression, so what we can do is, so this cron expression is a format which we have to understand. So totally it has six parameters. Okay. So first parameter if I'm executing, so then zero I'm specifying, right? So this is one parameter. So first parameter we are executing, so it will be calculated as minutes. Okay. So it will be calculated as minutes, and after that here we have hours. Okay, so hours can be specified 1 to 24 hours we can specify. So every 1 hour, 12 hours. So hours can be specified values 1 to 24. And then daily, which day of the week I want to execute, or if I want to execute daily, so we can specify on which week I want to execute. So a month has 4 weeks, or a month has different, so we have different days, right? So which day I want to execute this one, and then which month I want to execute. So uh, we can say every 1 month I want to execute. Okay. So, or first month I want to execute, and after that I want to execute on third month, or fourth month, fifth month I want to execute. So it accepts 12 parameters, 1 to 12 values it will accept. And then in which year I want to execute. So these are the parameters which we, with the help of these things, we can easily create an cron expression. So it accepts this six parameters. So first one will be placed as zero. Okay. So if you don't So if you are confused how to write this one manually, so there is no need to write. So we have a lot of things. You can just generate the cron expression. So I want to execute for every 5 minutes. So then you can simply go with this expression, and then it will execute for every 5 minutes. Suppose if you want to execute for every 1 minute, so then you can go there and you can generate the expression. So once you generate the expression, so then it will be so once you generate the expression, you can just simply place the expression in your backend services. Okay, so after that, here we are having one more method. So consider I have scheduled a job after 6 months, or after 12 months, I have scheduled a job. Okay, at a particular date. So now what I have to do is I have to wait till the time triggers so that the scheduler will work or not. Till then, I have to wait, right? So I have scheduled it after 6 months. So that means I have to wait till 6 months to execute the scheduler. Okay, so to the scheduler gets automatically executed. So then only I could know whether it is working or not. So otherwise we couldn't know, right? Without executing, we couldn't know whether it is working or not. So in order to check your scheduler whether it is working or not, so currently, so at that time with the help of schedule options.now method, we can do that. So now is one method which will schedule or fire your job immediately. Once the bundle gets activated, so your job will be executed immediately once after deployment. So if you want to execute at the same time, okay, so if you want to execute now, once after deployment, when the bundle goes into the active state, so at that time you can go for the now method. So with the help of the now method, it will fire the job immediately, and then only once it will fire the job. Only once it will fire the job, and immediately it will fire the job. So these are just to schedule your job. So whatever the methods we have seen till now, so either date, cron expression, or now method. So all these things are just to schedule it. So when it wants to be executed. So in order to execute the scheduler, we have to go for this two methods. Boolean schedule is the method we are having. So if you want to unschedule it, so then Boolean unschedule is the method we are having. Okay. So if I go for this Boolean schedule method, it is accepting two parameters. So schedule is one method which is used to schedule your job. Okay. So without this schedule method, we cannot schedule your job. So if you want to stop your job, so then with the help of the unschedule method, we can do that. Okay, so schedule and unschedule. So this schedule method is accepting two parameters. One is accepting, it is job, it is accepting, and then it is accepting the object of schedule options. So what does the schedule options contain? It will contain the cron expression. Okay, and then it also we have to pass some more metadata inside this schedule options. So it is not a metadata. We have to provide some custom information in order to schedule the job. Okay, so which is nothing but a name of the scheduler we have to pass. But here, in order to schedule or unschedule the job, one thing is mandatory. So you have to give the name to the scheduler. So without the name to the scheduler, either you can't schedule or you can't unschedule the job. So here if you observe, so directly it is accepting only the name. So string job name it is accepting. So we have to specify the name to the scheduler. So how we can specify the name to the scheduler? So with the help of this schedule options, it has some extra methods. Suppose if I want to pass some config, so extra information, so then with the help of the config method, we can do that. Okay, suppose if I want to name the scheduler, here we are having the name method. So with the help of schedule options dot name method, what I can do is I can set the name of the job. And if you want to run concurrently, okay, so if you remember the thread concept in Java, so can run concurrent. So can run concurrent is nothing but so now I'm having multiple schedulers. So if you want this scheduler executed simultaneously with others, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 I'm having. Okay, now I'm creating a sixth scheduler. So this sixth scheduler should also be executed simultaneously with others. Okay, so at that case, with the help of the can run concurrent method, we can do that. So can run concurrent method, if it is equals to true, so then it can run concurrent. Okay, so if you are making that false, so then it cannot be run concurrently. So if you want to run your scheduler concurrently, so then with the help of the can run concurrent method, we can do that. So if you want to name your scheduler, so then with the help of the name method, we can schedule your so you can name your scheduler. So to schedule the jobs, so these are the four methods we are having. So to schedule an job. Okay, so at date expression and now. So if you want to fire your job, so then with the help of schedule method, we have to do that. So to fire your job, schedule is the method, and then it accepts two parameters. First thing is task you want to execute, and then second thing is it will accept the it will accept the schedule options object. So which contains can run concurrent name, and then the expression when I want to execute or date I want to execute. So these three parameters we have to pass two parameters only. In the schedule objects, we can include all those things. So these two parameters we have to pass in order to fire a job, in order to fire your job. Okay. So in order to unschedule your job, that means now your service has been completed. Okay. So I don't want to execute this anymore. So at that time, in order to stop or unschedule your job, so then with the help of unschedule method, we can do that. Or else whenever the bundle goes into the deactivate state, so at that time I want to unschedule the job. So then with the help of Boolean unschedule method, I can unschedule the job and then it accepts one parameter, that is nothing but the job name it will accept. So where the job name will be there inside the name method, we can write the job name. Okay, so here whatever we are passing, so we are passing a lot of info. Name of the scheduler we are passing, and then expression we are passing. So I'll go through the example how to schedule using a cron expression. Okay, most of the cases will be you going for the cron expression only. So name of the scheduler we are passing, cron expression we are passing, and then can run concurrent is some data we are passing. Okay, so whatever the data we are having, so we want to pass this. We want to pass this data, we don't hard code this data. Okay, so we have to pass this data dynamically. So if I want to pass the data dynamically, how we can pass the data dynamically into the OSGI components or OSGI services? We have to go for the OSGI
On
configurations. So with the help of the configurations, we can pass the dynamic data into the OSGI services and components. Okay, so we'll see an example how to create a scheduler, and then we'll try to execute or fire a simple job. Okay, so any questions, Divya? Okay, so now we'll try to create a configuration. So inside the OSGI configurations, we have to create a configuration. So OSGI and then config, we'll create a configuration here. Okay, so, okay, so now this is a normal class. So we should not create a class. We have to create an annotation. Okay, so in order to create as an annotation, at the rate interface and then save. So now it becomes an annotation. Okay, so we have to create an annotation. We should not create any class here. Okay, so once you have created, so now this is one normal Java class. We have to convert this normal Java annotation into an configuration. Okay, so how we can convert into an configuration?
object object class.
Object class definition. So you have to use at the rate object class definition is the annotation. Is loading. Oh yeah. So at the rate object class definition, and then it will accept two parameters. What parameters it will accept? Name, to give any name. Okay. Uh, okay. So we can give any name, custom OSGI scheduler configuration, and then we can also pass any description as well. Okay, so is your configuration for custom scheduler. So now it is done. So now we have created an configuration. So we have given the name to the configuration and we have given the description as well. So now we have to create the fields inside this configuration. So how to create the fields? Here we have to use one more annotation. So
Attribute definition.
at the rate attribute definition. So and then it will also accept multiple parameters we can pass. So first one is name. So scheduler name, and then description, mm, the name of the schedule, and then we have to create a type. Okay, so the name of the scheduler will be as a part of string, right? So because it is a sequence of characters, so now we have to create an type. So type should be string. So type, uh, so type is equals to attribute type dot string is a method we are having. So string should be capital. Okay, so now we have created the configuration. So whatever the data that is storing that we are entering inside this uh, configuration, so we have to retrieve the data. So that means we have to create an method for it. Okay, so public void get. So the return type is string, so you have to accept as an string, so not void. Get scheduler name. Okay, so this method will return the name of the scheduler, and then try to import this one. So I'll also give any default value. So it will accept an default value. So default is equals to uh, is, um, subscheduler is the default value I'm passing. And the second thing, so second important thing we have to pass is the cron expression. So when I want to execute this particular scheduler, right? So that is the second major thing I want to pass. Okay. So I have to pass the cron expression. So in order to pass the cron expression, so it is also a string value, but we have to go for the cron expression. Cron expression. Schedule using cron expression and get cron expression is the method I'll write. So get get cron expression is the method. So this default value I'll give for executing for every 5 minutes. Okay, so for every 5 minutes I want to execute this one. So now this will be the default value. So whenever it will execute, so for every 5 minutes, every hour, every day. So when I'm specifying star means for everything it will take. Okay, so for every 5 minutes it will be executed. So after that we have to pass the can run concurrent. Okay, so can run concurrent is an boolean field. Okay, so we have to pass the boolean field, either true or false value, it will accept can run concurrent method. So we have to pass as an boolean. Boolean, then the method should be run can run concurrent is the method. Uh, Select to run parallel with the other schedulers. Okay. So with the help of can run concurrent, we can do that. And then it is a boolean field. The return type also should be boolean. Okay. And then after that, so it should return the method, right? So is boolean should be, we have to create it. So is can run. can run concurrent, and default value will be true. So it can run concurrently. So default I'm passing as an true value. So after that, one more thing I'll do. So in order to execute this scheduler or to stop this scheduler, we can directly, I want to write one configuration here only so that whenever the user selects the configuration, then I want to execute the scheduler. Otherwise there is no need to execute the scheduler. Okay, so I'll write one more property here. So can run, instead of can run concurrently, I'll select as an enabled. Okay, enable to execute the scheduler, and then it is also a boolean field. So I'll return as is enabled is the method. So public boolean is enabled is the method we are having. Okay. So now whenever the user selects this enable, okay, so whenever the scheduler is enabled, so then only I want to execute this one. Okay. So now we have created a configuration. So once you have created this configuration, we can send the dynamic data. Suppose if I deploy as well, so this configuration would not be created defaultly. Okay. So we have to use that in any OSJ services. So then only the configuration will be created. Okay, so here we have one package to create a scheduler. So go to the schedulers and then right click on it and then create a scheduler. So class, just custom scheduler is the method I'm having. Okay, so this is one custom scheduler. Suppose if I want to create an scheduler or whatever the task I want to write. So whenever we are implementing the scheduler, we have to uh, interfaces we have to implement. Either we can go for runnable interface or we should go for the job interface. Okay, so if you remember how we can schedule a thread, so threads, we are threads, right? So if you want to schedule a thread or if I want to execute a thread, so that we have to implement the runnable interface, because inside the runnable interface it has the run method, and with the help of the run method we have to write the task. So that is with the help of the runnable interface we can schedule an threads. So similarly, whenever we are going for a scheduler interface, so we have to, whenever we are going for creating a scheduler, so either we have to implement the runnable interface or we have to implement the job interface. Okay, so because it has the run method or job interface has an execute method, so both the methods will be used to write our task. So whatever the task is there, so all the tasks we have to mention inside those run method, or we have to mention inside the execute method we have to mention. So as a part, I'll go for the runnable interface. Okay, so it is an interface. We have to use the implements keyword. So implements runnable. Okay, so whenever we are implementing the interface, by default it has public abstract methods. So we have to override all the methods. So it has only one method, which is nothing but the void run method it will be having. So whatever the task I'm having, so that entire task, okay, so that entire task I have to write inside the run method. So because the run method will be executed automatically whenever we want to fire the job. Okay, so now I want to so this is one normal scheduler class. So, okay, so it is normal class we are having. So we have to convert this normal class into an OSGA service. Okay, so we have to use at the rate component and then service we have to pass. So service is equals to custom scheduler is the service I want to make. So I want to make this existing class as an service. So this is how we can make the existing class as an service. Okay, so custom scheduler dot class and immediate equals to true. We have to specify for every OSGI configure for every OSGI services. We have to specify this immediate equals to true. Okay, so now whatever the configuration I have created here. So if you want to get this configuration, we have to bound that configuration to this OSGI service which we have converted your class. So custom schedule is an OSGI service we have created. So we have to bound this configuration to this scheduler class or this OSGI service we have to bound. So how we can bound? So we have one more annotation here. So in order to bound this one, so what is it? At the rate designate is the annotation we are having. So at the rate designate, and then it accepts one parameter that is OCD. So inside this class we are having the configuration. So just call this configuration dot class. Okay, so now we have created the, now we have bounded the configuration to the class as well. Okay, so why we have bounded? So whatever the information that is required, so the entire information is coming from this configuration class only. So whenever I want to get this data, so suppose if the event has been modified, if the configuration has been modified, I want to get the data. And whenever the configuration is activated, so then also I want to get the data. So at that case, here we have to use @activate method. So in order to do that, and then we have to go for deactivate method. Sorry, not deactivate, @modify. Okay. So and then I'll create one method here. So public void activate is one method I'm writing. Okay. So now inside this method, I can call all the configuration information so that I can pass. So instead of calling inside this activate method, so I'll create one more method to call the scheduler. Okay. So public void schedule is the method I'm creating. So public void schedule is the method I'm creating, and inside this schedule method, I'll first enable first I'll schedule the job, and then I'll call that inside the activate method. So instead of writing the entire logic inside the activate method, so I'm just using this schedule method. So first I want to get the information in order to schedule your job. So before getting that information, so we have what we have to call. So one mandatory step we are having. So after implementing the runnable interface, every time if you want to call the scheduler or if you want to use all of these methods. So where these methods are available, inside this scheduler API, these methods are available. So we have to call this scheduler API first. So this scheduler API is an existing OSGI service. Okay. This scheduler API is an existing OSGI service. So we have to call this scheduler API first. Okay. So how we can call the scheduler API? So this is an OSGI service. And whatever the thing we have created, so that is also an existing OSGI service. So both of these things are an existing OSGI service. So to call one OSGI service inside another OSGI service, how we can call? So we have to use the reference annotation, right? So in order to call one OSGI in another OSGI service, literal reference is the annotation we are having. Okay. So reference and then create an object for it. So private. Okay. So always the import should be org Apache Sling commons scheduler should be the import. So every time you are importing, so this should be the import and then create an object for it. So scheduler is the object I have created. So once I've created the scheduler object, so I want to get this information. Okay. So in order to retrieve the information from this class, we have to create an object for this class, right? So try to create an object for this class. Uh, Config is the object I am creating. Okay. So in order to create, so config dot get. So whenever we are writing one method right inside this one, so which is nothing but enable. So whenever the scheduler is enabled, so then only I want to get the information as well. So what are this information also I want to retrieve when the scheduler is enabled. So without enabling the scheduler, so I don't need this information as well. Okay, so I'll write some if condition here. So if config dot is enabled. Okay, so if config dot is enabled, so which will return either true or false value. So whenever the value is true, so at that time it will execute inside if condition. Okay, so config dot is enabled, and then we can get the lot of information, right? So in order to get what I have to get, the first thing is we have to get the cron expression. Because in order to schedule the job, we need to have the cron expression first. Okay, so to call the cron expression, what is the method we are having? So this expression is the method we are having. So where this expression method is there inside this schedule, or we have the expression method. Okay, so just call scheduler dot expression, and then from where I want to return the value config dot get cron expression. So it will return the cron expression, and once it has written the cron expression, assign that to an schedule options object. So schedule options object it is returning. So with the help of the schedule options, we can pass some more extra information. So schedule options dot name is one thing we can pass, and then from where we are getting the scheduler name configuration, we are getting the scheduler name. So config dot get scheduler name. So it will return the scheduler name as well as it will also return the can run concurrent method. So so dot can run concurrent. So this value it is returning from uh, config dot get is can run concurrent we have to pass. So now I have passed all the information, whatever the necessary information I want. So I've got all the information. I've got the name of the scheduler, I've got the expression, and I have got the can run concurrent as well. I have got, okay, so which is all the data is storing inside this schedule options object, the data is storing. Okay, so in order to schedule your job, so how we can schedule the job? With the help of the schedule method we have to schedule the job. So to start your job or fire your job, we have to use this schedule method. Okay, so how we can call the schedule method? So just call scheduler dot schedule is the method, and then it will accept two parameters. So first thing what it will accept the job. Okay, so whatever the job I want to execute, so it will accept the job. So where I'm writing the job, I want to write the job inside this run method. Okay, so in order to call the run method, so simply you can call as this. So when I'm calling this, it will refer to the current class object. So that object is nothing but the run method it will refer. Okay, so now we have scheduled the job as well. So once I have scheduled the job, so now I have to execute this one. So when I want to execute, so whenever the bundle gets activated, I want to execute this one. So in order to, when the bundle gets activated, in order to execute this one, so I have to call inside this activate method. Okay, so call inside the activate method. So this dot schedule, and then it is accepting one object, config object it is accepting. So we have to create an object for it. So just try to create an object, custom scheduler configuration dot config, and this object we have to pass inside this method. So config is the object I am passed. Okay, so whatever similarly, whenever the bundle gets deactivated, so then only then also I want to stop the scheduler. So at that time we have to use at the rate deactivate is the method, and then I'll directly create this one. So public void unschedule is the method, or public void deactivate, and inside this deactivate method I'll call the unschedule option. Okay, so in order to unschedule your job, so unschedule is the method we have to call inside from the scheduler interface. Okay, so scheduler dot unschedule is the method we are having, and then it accepts the parameter, it will accept the value. Okay, so which is nothing but the name, it is accepting a string parameter which is nothing but name of the scheduler we have to pass. So in order to pass the name of the scheduler which is available inside the configuration, so that means we have to create an object for the configuration here as well. So config is the object I am creating, and then try to call that thing. So config dot get scheduler name. So this will return the name of the scheduler. Once the name of the scheduler is there, so then it will unschedule the job. So in order to track this thing, so I'll just create one simple logger in order to write those values. Okay. So private static final logger. So logger import should be static final logger. So always the logger import should be org/slf4j should be the import, and create an object for it is equals to logger factory. Logger factory dot get logger is the method, and just pass the class name because I want to track the logs with the help of this class name. So custom scheduler dot class. Okay. So what I'll write is so before executing the schedule method, I'll write one log message here. So log dot info sub the activate the method of the Okay, so now I'll write the task as well. So task is nothing but just printing this log message. So custom scheduler has to be executed. Executed successfully. So these are the two log messages I'm writing. And then I'll also write one more log message here. So job has been unscheduled is the message I'm writing. So log.info unscheduled. Okay, so these are the two messages I'm writing. So in order to check this one, so we can just build this. So we have to deploy that into the AEM server. So go to terminal and change the value. So cd4 install minus you can stick to this file only. So in the previous session, we have checked in the error.logs, right? The packages or for this particular class also, we can create an individual log files. So in order to create the individual log files, so here we are having one console. Inside the web console only, we can create the log files as well. So system console, let's see, the system console bundles, we can do that. So inside the system console bundles, so here we have an option of sync and then go to log support. So inside the log support, just try to create an object. So just try to create an log file for that particular package. So for the schedulers only, I'll create a log file. So now once you got inside this log support, so here just click on add a new logger. So once you hit on add a new logger, give the name to the logger. So instead of error.log, we'll write scheduler.log is the value I'm writing. So right now we are starting or we are writing all the logs as an info. Okay, so at that time you have to select the log level as info. So once you select the log level as info, so then automatically I can execute debug, trace, off, default, all these options I can execute. Okay, but the above two options we can't get. So above two log messages we can't print. Error.log we can't print and war.log we can't one log messages we can't print. So if I'm selecting info, so then debug, trace, off, and default. So all these options I can get. Suppose if I'm selecting error, so at the time I'll get all the options. Okay, so whatever the value we have selected, from that value to the down, all the things we can get inside the log file. All the type of messages we can write. So now I'm selecting info. So after selecting info, I can write debug, trace, off, and default I can write. Suppose if I select our error, so then I can write the error messages, one, info, debug, trace, off, all the messages we can write. So now here inside this thing, pass as an info because we are writing as an info only, right? So you can just pass as an info and then save the changes. Okay. So log file has been created. So is it created? Error.log. Okay, so we'll try to check in the console. So if you want to find the log files, you have to go for the CRX quick start. So CRX quick start and then logs. And then here we have to search for the log, whether any log has been created or not. So so log is not created. com.search.marvel error.log is august.log. Oh, for the existing package, there is an already an for the same package, we have already a logger. Okay, so August is the logger I'm already having, so that's why a logger has not been created. So you follow the same process, you create a logger. Okay, so August is the log file which we are having, and then you can just track all these things at this loggers.log. So just right click on it, and then you can open with Notepad. Okay, so just try to search for this message. So custom scheduler is executed successfully. Okay, so still maybe 5 minutes has not been triggered, so that's why it is not returning the message. We'll try to remove, or else we'll try to check this one inside the activate method of custom scheduler. Okay, so inside the activate method is there. Okay, so demo scheduler. Okay, so inside the activate method it is there, but still the 5 minutes has the time has not been triggered, so that's why it is not executing the scheduler. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll clear this box, and then so how can I update the value? I want to execute for every 1 minute now. Okay, so first you have to generate the cron expression. So cron expression generator. So for every 1 minute, I want to execute this one. Cron generator, cron maker. So you can go for this one. Okay, so for every 1 minute I want to execute. So if you click on generate, for every 1 minute it will be generated. Just copy this value. So there is no need to again go to the code and make the changes because we are passing the dynamic data, right? So inside the web console, go to OSGI configurations and search for your configuration. So custom scheduler configuration is the one we are having, and then it is executing for 5 minutes. So try to update the value. So save the changes. Okay, so once I have updated the value, what happens here is, so it will again go inside the activate method. Okay, custom scheduler inside the activate method of the step because at the rate modified event has been triggered. Okay, so we have modified the data inside the configuration. So at the time at the rate modified has been triggered, so that's why it is printing this message again. So schedule. Okay, so it says custom scheduler has been executed successfully. So at which time? So at 22, it is specified. So 22, 0 seconds, 0.03 milliseconds, that is fine. So again, maybe after 10:23, it will execute. After 10:24, it will execute. 10:25, it will execute. So for every 1 minute, I want to run it. So for every 1 minute, it will be executed. Okay, so that is how we can go for an scheduler. That is how we can schedule or unschedule your jobs. So not only this one, so what we can do is we can also pass some data. So right now what I'm doing, so I'm just specifying some message here. Okay, so instead of specifying a message, what we can do is we can call the entire, suppose in the last session what we have done, so we have returning the data of the page, right? So with the help of parameters. So in the servlets we have written that. So go inside servlet and then simple servlet is a method we have created, not system servlet. Okay, so this is the one, right, which we have created yesterday. So whatever the task we are having, so this is the task we are having here. Okay, so this task as well, I can perform. I can perform this task and we can execute this task inside the schedule of job as well. Okay, so but we have to pass the path. So first what I'll do is I'll give the path as an static path instead of giving all the things. Private string page path is equals to, I'll give one static path because I'm not taking as a parameter because we don't have any request object inside the scheduler. Okay, so in this OSGI service, we don't have any request object, so we can't get that as a parameter. So content Marvel Lewison EM. So this is the path I want to execute. So then simply you can pass the static path or it is string value, mention that inside the double quotes. Okay. So and then inside this run method, I'll run the task. So we're getting a resource resolver. From resource resolver, you have to get this. So we don't have the response object, right? So there is no need to get the response as well. So we'll print inside the log files only. But when you are going for this resource resolver, so you can't adapt the resource resolver inside an OSGI services directly. Okay, so if it is an scheduler, if it is a servlet, as the servlet has this request object, so with the help of the request object, we can get the resource resolver directly. So previously we used to have resource resolver dot get administrator resource resolver, so which will get the resource resolver with admin credentials. Okay, but for the security purpose, so we can't directly get the resource resolver inside an scheduler. Okay, first we have to create an system user for it. So after creating the system user, so then with the help of the system user, we can get an resource resolver. So with the help of the resource resolver factory, we have to create an system user. Okay, so in order to create an system user and in order to get this resource as well, so we can do that. So in order to create an system user, so how to create an system user is, so first we have to go to the console. Okay, so localhost 4502 and then crx explorer crx explorer index.jsp is the path to go to the uh, environment, so where I can create a system user. So once you are inside this explorer index.jsp, so here we have some console called user administration. Okay, so go inside this user administration and create a system user. So for me it is showing directly. Maybe if you are in the logouts, if you are in the login only, you can see the option to create. Okay, so here you have to log in. So here it shows logout for me because it is login directly. Okay, so if it is not login here, you'll have an option to login. So then try to login and create an user. So create a system user and I'll create a system user here. So Marvel and then click on this link. So once you click on it, a system user has been created. So what is the principal name is Marvel and then user ID is also Marvel. So both are the principal name and user ID both are same. So once you have created this system user, so we have to give the permission to this system user. Okay, because he's a new user. So admin has all the access. So he can go, he has the entire access to the CRXT, he has access to every console in the AEM. But whatever the system user we have created now, so he does not have any permission. So we have to give the permission to the system user. So in order to give the permission to the system user, we are having one more console called user admin. So localhost 4502 and then go to user admin console and then Marvel is the value we are having. So Marvel is the user we have created, right? So search for the Marvel user and he will be available here. So once we have select this user and go to permissions and then try to give the permissions to him. So select the user permissions and try to give all the permissions. So I'm giving read permission, modify permission, create, delete, read ACL, edit ACL, and replicate. So I'm giving permission to the entire repository. So once you have given permission, refresh and check whether all the permissions have been given or not. So Marvel, so select the user permissions. So now he has the access to entire repository. So for every folder, apps, bin, config, content, etc, home, libs, system, where, so all the things he has the permission. So whatever the system user we have created, so it is mainly for the security purpose. Okay. So why we are so basically when we are accessing to the backend, okay, so resources. So usually what we do, so we go for the resource resolver with the help of request object, or we can also get with the help of admin user. So get administrative resource resolver is one method we are having, so which is deprecated. Okay, so then we don't have any access. Suppose if some other person is so suppose if some other person is there, okay, so he can also access the resource resolver and he can also do perform the same action. But I want to create some security to it so that only our whatever the resource resolver we have created or service user we have created, only that particular user can have the access to this project details. Okay, so that's why we have created the system user. So once you have created the system user, third step we have to do is, so we have to map this system user to the project which we are using. Okay, so to the core bundle we have to map the system user. So in order to map the system user to the core bundle, so just go to the system console bundles first. Okay, and try to copy the ID of your bundle. So every bundle will have one ID. So Marvel, and then inside this Marvel, so here we are having bundle symbolic name. So AEM guides hyphen Marvel.core is the bundle symbolic name. So once you have done that, go to OSGI configurations. Once you have copied this one, go to OSGI configurations, and inside the OSGI configuration, just try to search for Apache Sling service user mapper. Okay, so service user mapper amendment service is the factory configuration we are having. So factory configurations are slightly different to the custom configurations we are creating. So whenever you are going for a factory configuration, we can add the data inside this directly. So all the factory configurations will have this plus method. Suppose if you want to create a factory configurations as well, we can create by sending this inside this parameter, we can pass factory is equals to true. So when I'm passing factory is equals to true, we can pass and we can create an factory configuration. Okay, so inside this Apache Sling service user mapper, so just place your bundle symbolic name, colon, your service user mapper ID. So both of the things are Marvel, and then your service user as well is Marvel, right? So now once you have done that, so now you can save your changes. So Marvel is your service user, and now you have mapped your service user with your core bundle as well. So once you have got this service user, so now we have to call the resource resolver inside this scheduler. Okay, so to call the resource resolver inside the scheduler, here we are having, it is an existing OSGS service. We have to go for at the rate reference annotation. So at the rate reference and call the resource resolver factory. So private resource resolver factory. So resource resolver factory, and then create an object for it. Resource resolver factory is the object I am creating. So once I have created this object, so it has one method. Okay, so you can't get the resource resolver like this. So we have to call one method, which is nothing but resource resolver factory dot get service resource resolver. Okay, so get service resource resolver. If you observe here, it is accepting an map parameter, it will accepting. Okay, so we have to pass this map parameter, we have to pass. Okay, so for this map parameter, what I'll do is, uh, so we have to create a hash map for it. So map of, so first it will accept an object. So, and then it will accept an string, or else map is an interface, you can't directly create an object for it. Import java.util.hashmap should be the import, and then assign to an new local variable. So once you have assigned, so first should be object you have to pass, and second one it will accept the string parameter, it will accept. Okay, so instead of hash map, you can just go for a map object because it is accepting the map object and try to import the map. So java.util.map is the object we are having. So whatever the information I want to pass, so it is nothing but the user, right? So user is Marvel. So this is nothing but an object which I have created for this map. Okay, so it is not the user. This is the map object we have created. So inside this map object, I have to insert the user data. So how can I insert the user data inside the map object? So how to insert a value inside the map object? How we can do Java collections? I think you have gone through the collections, right? Inside the collections, we can actually do that thing. So how to insert the data inside a map? You have to go for you have to go for how to insert the data inside map. Simple. Add method.
Put.
So Marvel dot
Put, sir.
put is the method. Okay. So add is used to data
Put.
inside a list. So Marvel dot put, and then here we are having resolver factory dot subservice is the method we are having. So subservice, and here we have to pass the subservice user. So who is the subservice user? Marvel is the subservice user we are having. So once I have got this subservice user, resolver factory dot subservice user, and now I have to call the uh, resolver factory here. So inside the get resource resolver, so just try to pass this map object. So Marvel is the object I am having, and then it will return, it will throw an exception. Cache the argument. Service resource resolver map string and object. Okay, so we are passing two things. Sorry, first value should be string and second value should be object. Okay, so string and object. So now it is defined and then assigned to a new local field. Service resource resolver is the field it is returning. So and then I'll name it as an resource resolver directly instead of service resource resolver. So it is throwing an exception. So try to handle that exception. Okay, so how to handle the exception? We have to go for try block. We have to write, right? So this is the risky code. So this risky code we have to handle in the try block. So I'll create an try and catch. Then catch block we have to write. So with the try. So try we have opened here. Put an extra that. So try we have written and then opened in parenthesis catch. This not available. So if condition and then for the inner if we have gone here. Okay, and then here we are opening and then we are closing here. So try ch try catch. Okay, so now we are handling the exception. So what exception it will throw? It will throw the repository exception or the repository. So it will throw the repository exception. Try to handle the repository exception. Or else, if you don't know, just try to handle the exception. This is the main class and it can handle any type of exceptions. Okay, so I'll write a log message here. So log dot info fail to get the source resolver. So okay, so fail to get the resource resolver using the resolver factory. That is one message we are having. And then what I'll do is I want to print the entire one, but still so this is a comment and then map object we are passing. It is fine. And then run method we are closing. Okay. So we'll try to add the data as well. So jab dot add and then I'll write the log here on. So log dot info. So once I wrote the log dot info, uh, what we are returning? We are returning the title and then we are returning the path. Okay. Details. and I'll write in the form of placeholder. So you don't use an plus operator. So it is not an recommended approach. So title, comma, path. So title, comma, path I am passing. So this is also not required. You can directly pass here. JSON as well, not required. Because we are not returning the response, right? We are just printing in the log message. Okay, save the changes. Now try to deploy the code. So if you want to get the changes, you have to deploy. Okay, so clear the logs and check. So for every 1 minute, it will be executed. So custom scheduler at 10:40, at 10:39, okay, 10:38. So custom scheduler has been executed. So for every 1 minute, the scheduler will be executed. So that is how we can schedule the job. So once it is deployed, so default value we have given as 5, right? Again, we have to change from 5 to 4. So custom scheduler sept has been executed successfully. It is an it has been executed successfully, and these are the page details. So Marvel, EN Marvel, and Marvel components page. We are not having any space, right? So Marvel EN is nothing but the title. I'm having the title as Marvel EN, and Marvel components page is the resource type we are having. So that is how we can access a resource and how we can specify these things with the help of the resolver factory. So in order to get the resource resolver in any OSGA service except servlets, we have to follow the same way. So with the help of resource resolver factory, we can get an resource resolver. So we'll not do for this entire program actually. So we'll create one more service class and then we'll create one method inside the service class. So every time I required the resource resolver, so I can just simply call that service file. Okay, so here I'm doing only for this code. Suppose if I'm creating one more class, so at that time I have to write this message again, map and then Marvel, and then I have to get the resource resolver again. But currently there is no need if you are creating as a service. Okay, so now you can see an space in between them. So Marvel EN is the title, and then Marvel components page is the path we have specified. So that is about the scheduler. That is how we can access an resource. So just it is a random task. Okay, suppose if I'm having one more task, so then all the tasks you will be writing inside the run method only. Okay. So any questions from online?